Hey everybody, welcome back. Got a special build for you this episode of Model Car Videos. And it's going to be this 66 Olds 442 convertible. This kit was given to me by Tony Lantzer, a friend of mine and a Facebook group member rather. Tony sent me a message, say, I want to send you something. And I was like, that sounds awesome. And this showed up, and that was even better because I was on an Oldsmobile kick building the some other Oldsmobiles, and this just tops it off. This will look so good sitting beside those others in the set of Oldsmobiles that I have. Yeah, I've already got all the parts taken off the tree, so I'm sure I've already somewhat irritated a few of you guys that like to leave all your parts on or whatever. But anyway, I like to cut my parts off, and I've taken them all off. And it looks like it's just an absolute train wreck, but there is an order to this. I've already gone through and deflashed everything. So when I break all my parts down, I go through and I go ahead and deflash it. I've got a little sanding to do on the body, but other than that, this stuff is ready to start being glued together. One thing about this kit though, when Tony sent it to me, I opened it up and I noticed one thing was missing, and it was the instruction sheet. So I don't think I would need the instruction sheet. I think I could pretty much wing it and make it through. But I thought, I've got the instructions from the W30. It's the same car, except it's not a convertible. This is a convertible, and this one has a few different things. It's got these little, looks like the heater hoses, and it also has the air conditioning compressor. Looks like it mounts different than the W30, and I think the W30 was a tri-power, where this is going to be a single 4-barrel. So this is going to be a fun kit. I appreciate it, Tony. I also had my friend Steve sent me a few kits, and there were three. Let's see, there were three Oldsmobiles. I can't see them over there, but there was one of these also. My friend Steve also sent me the Oldsmobiles, and he sent me one of these kits, so I have an extra one that's still wrapped in the plastic. So this is going to be a fun build. Not sure what color I'm going to go with. I don't know if I'm going to paint it. I don't know if I'm brave enough to go black, because you better have it right if you paint it black. More like I need to be painting them white, because white shows less flaws, or a lighter color. But I've got some cool paint colors that I'll go through, something that would suit the year model. You don't want to put a pink or purple on this thing. It just wouldn't be right. It's going to be box stock, except for I always like to put plug wires on my kits. So it will definitely have that. It's going to have quite a bit of bare metal foil, which is okay. It's going to be a nice looking car. But anyway, I did notice while I'm talking that they have a yellow here. I don't know if I would be brave enough to do the yellow. I don't think yellow would be my go-to color. But anyway, this is going to be a cool kit. And I'm going to get some parts glued together, and I'm going to get some paint on these parts, and we will come back in just a second and see what kind of progress I've got. So stand by. Guys, as real quick, just a side note, I mentioned about the other Oldsmobile kits, and I've shown these on a different video. But these three here, this one, and this one, Steve Curry, my friend Steve, sent those to me. And I just wanted to clarify, these two haven't been opened, but this one up here, I'd mentioned on a video before when I was talking about getting those from Steve. I misspoke, said Steve started this in the 1970s. He actually started the Johan model. Let me back up. He gave me these three kits. He said, I've already started on the Johan. He said he started on it like in 87 or 88. And he had some trouble with the paint, so he just kind of stopped with it. So I'm going to try to restore that one. Not necessarily restore because it wasn't completed, but strip the paint and start over. It's a cool kit. And he also had given these two kits, this Limburg 67 and the 66 442 convertible, just like the one that I'm building. So I just want to clarify there. Thanks, Steve, also for sending me those. And I'm going to, when I do the Johan, I'm definitely going to do a build video on that too. So back to the 442. Okay, so I have all my parts ready for paint except the body. I've still got a little bit to do to that. But just to kind of follow up with me taking everything off of the tree, this is what I do. So I have toothpicks. Here's my drawer of toothpicks over there. And I just cut one end off, and I just glue, unless I can use a piece of the tree, and a lot of times I'll do that. Like here's my rear seat. I've got it glued to a piece of the sprue. Skewers, use those skewers. I also have one of these things with the clips on it, and all the parts that I can clip on, and that way I can also, as I've mentioned on several of my videos, I go ahead and assemble my rear differential, drive shaft, the shocks, or everything on it. So whenever that way I can put the exhaust, paint the exhaust, and put it under there. That thing will just pop right in. It's already got all the springs and everything. I only glue one side. Anyway, you can watch the other videos and see me do that. But this is why I do that. Take everything off the tree. Then I can paint them. Here's my door panels. I just use my Bob Smith glue, and I glue these things on there. That way I've got a little handle. When it pops off, there's nothing left behind. And that's just how I do it. Stick one in the transmission. That way when I paint the engine, I don't have to, touch up, which I'm going to touch up the transmission anyway because it won't be engine color, but you know what I mean. But that's what I do. So I'm about to get some paint on some parts and some sanding on the body and get it primed, and I will come back in a jiffy. Stand by. All right, so my primered body is now completely cured, dried, or whatever it does, and I am going to mix up. I think I'm going to go with a red, and this happens to be, gosh, I can't read it. That's too darn little. Stoplight red metallic. It's a metallic red color. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make sure that's a gloss before I spray it on there. But anyway, it's going to look real good. I'm going to get the paint mixed up. What I do with the testers is 2 parts paint, 1 part lacquer thinner. Mix that up. I actually give it a little bit more thinner. Maybe, well, I won't make it confusing. It just works better for me with a little more lacquer thinner than 2 to 1. So I do like 2 to 1.5 or something maybe. But anyway, I'm going to get the paint mixed up, and I'll set the camera up and I will shoot some paint. At first I'm going to make sure this is a gloss, but if it is, then I'm going to shoot some paint. So stand by. Alright, here is the paint job. Not what I expected, but maybe due to the fact that I had a gray primer instead of maybe a white primer. And these metallics are somewhat transparent. Did turn out okay. The gloss is not where I want it, so I'm going to have to do some finishing on it. But anyway, paint turned out pretty good. Well, there we go. Glad it's dry. I went ahead and under the hood, went ahead and blacked out that. I've got the engine paint. I went ahead and did some interior work on the seats. I had a semi-gloss paint on the seats, but I went in and dry brushed flat, just a little, just take the shine away, just flat black acrylic craft paint. Picked out the handles, got the dashboard, the pulleys, and the engine. I've got the holes drilled out. Yes, guys, I know I don't have the right color paint for the Oldsmobile engines. I know it's not gold, it's more of like a bronze color or something. See the difference in the color? But I don't have that color paint right now, so I have to paint them gold. But I black washed it a bit. I'm going to black wash the transmission and everything else to finish it up, and the headers, get some rust on them, or the factory cast headers or whatever you call them. But I have drilled out the cylinder heads to accept the spark plug wires, and that's what I'll be working on next. This body is not dry enough or hard enough or cured enough for me to start on the bare metal foil. So when it gets in the next day or so, when it gets hard enough, I will get the bare metal foil put on it. And it's going pretty quick. It won't take long. Once I get that and the engine wired, the bare metal foil is going to take the longest thing, and it's quite a bit of bare metal foil on this car too. So that's where I'm at, and maybe I'll come back one more segment with the spark plug wires, and probably finish this video up as part one, and then come back as a second part to finish the car up, so this video won't take so long. So give me just a minute and I'll have some plug wires on here, and I'll let you see it. Stand by. Well, I decided I would show you once again how I do my plug wires. So here's the distributor, unpainted. I paint them after the fact. So what I do is with this one, what I'm going to do at least, and I hope that's focusing, I can't tell, I'm going to remove where the coil wire would go. You're not going to put a coil wire? No, I'm not going to put a coil wire. But I'm going to remove that. I'm just going to cut it out with my knife here with this dull blade. I'll need to change it. And then I'll begin to drill a hole right in the center. I'm not going to cut all the points off of mine. I'm going to just leave them there, but I'm going to try and cut this off. Get that cut off, and then I have another knife right here here's an ultra sharp blade, so you may see this thing stick right in my finger. So start a little hole. All I'm doing is making a pilot hole for my drill bit. That's not a very good pilot hole. It's kind of off to the side. So what would you rather be cut by, a dull knife or a really sharp knife? Neither, right? Yeah, me too. So I'm just going to get my hole started, just like a pilot hole. And then this is the most difficult part of the whole deal, is trying to hold this little distributor while I put this drill bit through it. Because what will happen, the drill bit will grab on, and it will want to turn I'm going to do a smaller bit first. It will want to turn what am I trying to say? It try to turn the distributor in your fingers, and that feels really, really good. Put the smaller bit in here. I guess I could grab it with some pliers or something. Just no pressure, and just let it kind of eat as it will. That way you can at least hold it a little easier. And I'll just bore this thing out about as deep as the distributor cap would be. And with this first one, ow, that really hurts my fingers. Bore it out, so I've got a hole started here. And then I'll go back with that bigger bit. And that way I can fit all of my plug wires. I use this 32 gauge wire for my plug wires. I don't remember what it's called. 32 gauge wrapping wire or something like that. I don't know. It's just this little teeny wire that I use. I've got some yellow and some black. So let me do a little bit more, and then I'll change the bit. All right. Now it's really when it's going to grab my fingers and spin it within my fingers, and it's going to hurt. So maybe I'll just reconsider the not holding it with pliers. I've got some pliers right here. These look like they shouldn't chew the plastic up at all, but man, does it hurt. I met a guy one time who was a brick mason, and well, I knew a guy, and his hands were so tough, I bet he could just hold this thing. If you do that kind of work all the time, your fingers will begin to be tough. Okay, here we go. See if I can do this. It'll probably spin and just eat the distributor up. Whoa, don't let your bit go in like that. See how it grabbed and just wanted to pull it in? You'll go all the way through if you're not careful. Let me just finish that up. There, perfect. Done. No pain involved. Okay. So I've got those, see the little hole in the top, right? After I put the wires in there, I will I'll paint it. So I'm gonna I always cut out, just to be safe, I cut my wires 2 inches long. They don't, have to cut a lot off, but you can't stretch one, so it's a lot easier to cut it off. So cut these 2 inches long. 2, 3. If you get a couple of short ones, that's fine, because the closer cylinders are shorter. 4. I'm gonna have to have more wire. 5, 6. Grab another piece of wire real fast. 6. There we go. 7, 8. You don't put a coil wire, Matt? I actually haven't got that comment in a little while about putting coil wires, but no, I don't do coil wires. I really don't like doing plug wires. I do it because, I think that it does help when you open the hood for it to. I just like it. It's my personal opinion, personal preference. I like plug wires. I don't go all out, boot them up and everything, but I have done boots, and it's not that hard. But mainly the outside aesthetics are what I go for. How close can I make what I'm doing here, I'm trying to fit these darn things in here. You don't want to have a bunch of glue in your distributor ready to take the wires and they don't fit. And I use the same size bit every time, but I don't know why I have a tough time getting them all to go in there. Okay, so I'm going to try to bore it out a little bit maybe. Because if you have, let me count, make sure that was 8, not 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, that's 8. These wires do fit, because the last model kit I did the exact same thing. So make sure all the ends are even, and get the ends, so push them down, get them in a tight little wad. That's what South Georgia for a small little group. That's a wad, and there, they fit better. Okay, now take my Bob Smith Industries glue with the tip that looks horrendous, and I'll put a daub of glue. I don't know if that's redneck or not, but a daub, or how about a small drop? That's what a daub is. So then I'm going to lay that down, because I can't do all this with one hand. Take my wires, get them all ready. Nice little wad. even. They're all even. And let's stick them in just like that. And I just noticed, looked like some of the super glue wicked up my wires, which I hate it when that happens. Put a little accelerator on it, just like that. Give it a little blow, just like that, and there's your distributor. Now what I was saying is sometimes the super glue will wick. It will wick up the distributor, the wires, and it will glue them together, and you have to kind of cut them apart. Let's see if that happened. Not too bad. Let's see if they'll all lay down flat. It did a little, but it's not too bad. So just take and separate your wires and make sure they're all free from one another. There's not one that has a mess load of glue that soaked up it and stuck them together. A little bit, not too bad. Kind of press them down. And then what you really need to do though, guys, one thing that you really must do is make sure your firing order is proper. Because if you don't have the firing order right, it's never going to crank and run. It could spit back through the carburetor. It could potentially cause a fire whenever it ignites the gas because you don't have the timing order or the firing order right. So make sure you've got it timed to your specific engine. Whatever that may be. I'll have to look up the Oldsmobile firing order to make sure. I'm just joking. Some guys are like that, and that's fine. If you have if you actually can do that, if you can take and actually like do the firing order, I've seen it, dude. It looks awesome. It looks totally cool when they do that. I'm not going to do that. That just ain't going to happen. But anyway, there is the little distributor all wired up, and it won't fit in the hole, so I have to make the hole a little bigger. But I will get those ran into the holes, and we will have a wired engine. And that is what we'll have. Let me pull this camera off of here really fast so I can do it without pressing some sort of important button. There we go. All right. So I've got the engine back here. The body is curing, so that'll be a day or two before I can get get the bare metal foil back. Oh guys, check that out. That was a kit. I just stuck this up here. This is the top of a box off of a kit that I built when I was a kid. Isn't that cool? It was one of the boxes of junk that I had. It's turned upside down, but I thought, man, that's so cool. I can remember building it. So 1/24 scale Talladega, and the AMT is a 1/25 scale. The 1/25 scale is right here, and that's the which, you know what? That's a 69. Oh, that's a 69 also. Anyway, totally off topic. But the body it looks pretty decent. It's going to need some polishing, but the color is a little darker than I thought because of the gray primer. That's okay. But anyway, we have made progress. Really, all to do now is start assembling this thing. There's the frame. There's the seats, the interior, the dash, the pulleys. You know, everything's here. I still have to sand the tires, which will be no problem at all. I've done videos on doing that. I may do it on part 2. I doubt it. Doubt that I'll do that. That's pretty easy. I've been here lately. I was using a sanding stick to do my tires. So you can use sandpaper, sanding stick, or whatever. But anyway, got to do the tires. Got to do some black washing on this chrome tree. There's the steel wheels, or I don't know if those are actual steel wheels. I think they were just hubcaps that came on it. They look like hubcaps. Here's the box of a real car. That looks like a hubcap, not an actual steel wheel with fake knockoffs. And these are those ugly. I never could stand those style of billet like rims. I never liked that. I just didn't like it at all. But anyway, I got some black washing to do here on this grill. But the major beast that I've got before me is the bare metal foil. So that's what I'll get to doing when the body gets cured completely. Thanks guys for watching. I appreciate it. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't already, please subscribe. I really appreciate it. It really helps me out. Thank you for you guys who have joined the Facebook group. We are over 1,000 members now, and it's continuing to grow. If you haven't already, go to the Facebook group and join, and that would help. I don't get anything from it, but it will help. It could benefit you. There's a lot of great modelers on there that have so much experience, more than me, and we can definitely gain from their knowledge. Also, don't forget to go to Hobby Nut Models. Link in the description below for Hobby Nut and the Facebook group. And go check out Mark's inventory at Hobby Nut, and he may even have one of these today. His inventory always changes. He gets quite a few of these older kits that aren't started. I wouldn't call them used, so they're a new old stock, let's call it that. He has a lot of those, and the inventory is steady turning over. So go check it out. He's got a lot of new kits too. But anyway, what else to say? Oh yeah, Tony Lantzer, thanks again for this this kit, and it's coming along nicely. Yeah, that's all I got, guys. You take care, and part 2 of this build will be just right around the corner, and we will see this thing with some chrome on it. Guys, take care. See you later. Bye.